last time we were talking about LCM, but we were talking about the LCM of two numbers. Now, just like with GCF, LCM can be done for three numbers. So before we do that, let's refresh our memory. LCM is the least common multiple. And a multiple is the numbers that you get when you multiply 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so on. So, if we're trying to find the multiples of 2, we multiply 2 times 1, which is 2, 2 times 2, which is 4, 2 times 3, which is 6, 2 times 4, which is 8, 2 times 5, which is 10, and so on and so on. And multiples can go as high as you can think of because numbers go on forever. And we'll talk about that much later. But for now, all you need to know is a multiple is the number that you get when you multiply two numbers together. So, if we're looking for the common multiples of 2, for instance. So let's say we're looking for the common multiples of 2. So I just said if we do 2 times 1, we get 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 5 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 6 is 12. We're going to stop right there for right now. So, but in order to find the least common multiple, common means at least two things. So we want to also do 4. And today, instead of doing two numbers, we're going to do three numbers. So we're going to also do 8. So this is a pretty easy first example. So 2, 4, and 8. And you can probably see a connection. And if you can, then that's great. And if not, then just bear with me. We'll get there. We'll get there soon. So 4. The common multiples, 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 5 is 20. 20. 4 times 6 is 24. I never write a 6. 4 times 6 is 24. Alright. So as you can already see, we've got several different multiples. But when you're dealing with three numbers instead of two numbers, you've got to consider your third number as well. So, our multiples of 8. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times... See, I was on 3. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 5 is 40. And 8 times 6 is 48. Now, if you don't know your multiplication tables like that, then that's okay. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you it's going to be really difficult when it comes to doing things like this. So my best advice would be to memorize your multiplication tables. Alright, so we have 2. We don't have a 2 here, and we don't have a 2 here. So that's not even a common multiple. So we're going to mark 2 out. Now we've got a 4. And we've got a 4 here, but we don't have a 4 here. So that's not a common multiple of all three. So we're going to mark 4 out. Now we have a 6, and that's not in either of these two. And we have an 8. And we have an 8 here, and we have an 8 here. So we're going to leave that in. So if we kept going here, we would have 14 and 16. So we've got a 16 here, and a 16 here, and a 16 here. But what's wrong with that? Think about that for a minute. What's wrong with that? Why can't that be the least common multiple? So that's a common multiple. We've got that in common, but we've got one that's less or least, and that's 8. So 8 is our least common multiple, or our LCM. And later we'll look and see why that's important. But right now I just want to show you how to find the LCM. So that's our first example, and that's a pretty straightforward example. So now let's kick it up a notch. Let's try some numbers that are a little bit more difficult. So let's try 8, 24, and 48. And I think that's going ahead and jump into a pretty difficult example, but I know you can get it because I know you're all smart. So let's look at what we have here. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 5 is 40. And 8 times 4 is 48. Okay, so now look what's going to happen. This is going to get really easy, really fast. So there's always light at the end of the tunnel. You just gotta be patient. So 24 times 1, anything times 1 is that number. So it's 24. And then 24 times 2 is 48. Alright. Now we're going to stop there. And I'm going to show you why we're going to stop there. First of all, this is rather difficult multiplication. You can do it because I know that you're all very, very smart. However, we're going to work smarter and not harder. So we've got a 24 here and a 24 here. So now let's see what happens. 48 times 1 is 48. Alright. Now I'm going to stop there. And I'm going to tell you why I'm going to stop there. So here we've got a 24 here and a 24 here. But we don't have a 24 here. So that means that can't be our common multiple. So we're going to mark 24 out. Now the next common multiple, as you can see, we've got a 48 here. We've got a 48 here. And we've got a 48 here. So that means our least common multiple of these three numbers is 48. So Look at you. You just found the least common multiple of 8, 24, and 48. And despite what I said, it wasn't a very difficult process, was it? So, for my 5th graders that are going to 6th grade, this is going to be very important, and I hope that you remember this. And not only do I hope you remember this, but I hope you take my advice in learning your multiplication tables, because it'll be increasingly important throughout 6th grade and the rest of your time in school. So until next time, study your multiplication tables, practice least common multiple, and I'll see you soon.